Good day everyone, my name is Mylene Melension Itim and I'm here to report about the religion and belief system. First, we should know about the meaning of the religion. Etymologically, the word religion is derived from the Latin root religare and it means to bind together. It means the bond between God and man. Religion refers to the socially defined patterns of belief concerning the ultimate meaning of life. It assumes the existence of supernatural as some entity that is above nature, beyond our experience, and explained by natural laws. Next, we have basic elements or components of religion. The French sociologist Emile Durkheim identified the four major elements of religion as expressed in his definition of religion. First is the sacred objects. It is called sacred objects because religions are symbolic systems. The range of objects deemed sacred can vary widely. The sacred object can be a supernatural being or force, or a ghost or spirit endowed with supernatural power. It can be moral principle or a particular object that symbolizes deep-seated feelings. For example, is the Bible. Next is the sacred beliefs. Sacred beliefs or sacred things derive the meaning from the beliefs that sustain or underlie them. A crucifix is deemed sacred to Christians because it presupposes a belief in the resurrection. Next, we have number 3, rituals. Sociologists regard rituals as the visible and symbolic expression of religion. It refers to prescribed ways of performing religious acts. Example, group prayers. Number 4, religious community. The religious community is composed of those unique and characters of religion. Next, we have to talk about the techniques of religion. A technique of religion refers to general acts performed according to the requirements of the beliefs. Number 1, prayer. It refers to the communication to the supernatural powers through thoughts or speech. Number 2, sacrifice. It expresses the desire to please the supernatural powers by gift giving. Number 3, reverence. It refers to awe coupled with love and admiration which one offers to the supernatural powers. Number 4, divination. It means the control by foreknowledge of supernatural powers. Number 5, taboo. It refers to the negative presentation or propitiatory devices wherein the person should abstain from certain acts which are presumed inimical to the desires of the gods. Number 6, duty. It is the opposite of the taboo. Number 7, rituals. It refers to the prescribed way of performing religious acts. Number 8, ceremony. It involves a number of interconnected and related rituals performed at a given time. Number 9, magic. It is an attempt to put into operation certain forces which will produce desired result. Next, we have the function of religion. We have 7 functions of religion. Number 1, promoting social solidarity and social control. Number 2, legitimation. Number 3, social adaptation. Number 4, consecrating life's event. Number 5, emotional security. Number 6, social functions. Number 7, and the last, the latent or unintended functions. That's all about my report. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Rochelda M. Cajes, BSEIS Second Year Block 2, and today I will be discuss the belief system or evolution of religion. Religions were originally based on the particular beliefs of their founders and prophets. In terms of their belief about supernatural beings, various faith traditions had taught the following. So first, animism. Animism is the belief that non-human entities are spiritual beings, either intrinsically or because spirits inhabit them. Animism refers to the belief that non-human entities are spiritual beings, either intrinsically or because spirits inhabit them for a period of time. Unlike supernatural forces, animist spirits may be inherently good or evil. Often, these spirits are thought to be the sons of deceased relatives, and they are not worshipped as deities. For example, the ancient Filipinos were animistic because they believed that everything has a spirit, from rocks and trees to animals, and humans to natural phenomena. Second, monotheism. Monotheism is the belief in one God. A narrower definition of monotheism is the belief in the existence of only one God that created the world, is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, and intervenes in the world. For example, a person who does not profess belief in a specific religion, but who believes there is one God could be said to adhere to the doctrine of monotheism. The third, polytheism. Polytheism is the worship of or belief in multiple deities, which are usually assembled into a pantheon of god and goddesses, along with their own religions and rituals. And the most widely practiced polytheistic religion is Hinduism, which has many different branches. Ancient Greek and Norse peoples practiced polytheistic religions, whose many gods we now know as part of what we call mythology. Fourth, atheism. Atheism is in the broadest sense an absence of belief in the existence of deities. Less broadly, atheism is a rejection of the belief that any deities exist. In an even narrower sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no deities. Atheism is the belief that no gods exist. The prefix "a" means not or without. In 2017, the WIN Gallup International Association poll found China and Sweden as the top 2 countries with highest percentage of those who claim themselves atheist or irreligious. Fifth, agnosticism. Agnosticism is the view that the existence of God, of the divine, or the supernatural is unknown or unknowable. Another definition provided is the view that human reason is incapable of providing sufficient rational grounds to justify either the belief that God exists or the belief that God does not exist. Agnostics assert that it's impossible for human beings to know anything about how the universe was created and whether or not divine beings exist. 6. Deism. Deism is the philosophical position that rejects revelation as a source of religions, knowledge, and asserts that reasons and observation of the natural world are sufficient to establish the existence of a supreme being or creator of the universe. Deists believe in God. They just don't believe in God the way that revealed religions do. Deists consider revealed religions to be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Deism rejects the idea that religions have any special divine revelation, and they reject the use of holy books. 7. Monism. Monism attributes oneness or singleness to a concept of existence. Various kinds of monism can be distinguished. Priority monism states that all existing things go back to a source that is distinct from them. In Neoplatonism, everything is derived from the one. The religions believe in monism, such as Hinduism and Buddhism in the East, and philosophers such as Baruch Spinoza in the West hold that the entirety of reality is reducible to only one substance. 8. Pantheism. Pantheism is the belief that reality is identical with divinity, or that all things compose all-encompassing immanent God. Many of the world's religious traditions and spiritual writings are marked by pantheistic ideas and feelings. This is particularly so, for example, in Hinduism of the Advaita Vedanta school, in some varieties of Kabbalistic Judaism, in Celtic spirituality, and in Sophic mysticism. 9. Trinitarianism. Trinitarianism is the Christian doctrine that God exists as three persons, or Greek hypostasis, but is one being. The persons are understood to exist as God the Father, God the Son, or incarnate as Jesus Christ, and God the Holy Spirit, each of them having the one identical essence or nature, not merely similar natures. For example, is the Philippines. The majority of Filipinos identify as Christian. Catholicism believes in the doctrine of God as the Holy Trinity comprising the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Filipinos accept the authority of the priesthood and the Roman Catholic Church, which is led by the Pope. And the last one is the spiritualism. Spiritualism is a religious movement based on the belief that the spirits of the dead exist and have both the ability and the inclination to communicate with the living. The afterlife, or the spirit world, is seen by spiritualists not as a static place but as one in which spirits continue to evolve. Spiritualism is currently practiced primarily through various denominational spiritualist churches in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. That's all. Thank you.
Three types of religious organization. First is sect. So what is sect? A sect is a relatively small religious organization that is not closely integrated into the larger society and that often conflicts with at least some of its norms and values. Typically, a sect has broken away from a larger denomination in an effort to restore what members of the sect regard as the original views of the denomination. Because sects are relatively small, they usually lack the bureaucracy of denominations and ecclesia, and often also lack the clergy who have received official training. Their worship services can be intensely emotional experiences, often more so than those typical of many denominations, where worship tends to be more formal and restrained. Next is church or ecclesia. So, a church is a large, bureaucratically organized religious organization that is closely integrated into the larger society. Two types of church organization exist. The first is the ecclesia, a large bureaucratic religious organization that is formal part of the state and has most or all of state citizens as its members. As such, the ecclesia is the national or state religion. People ordinarily do not join an ecclesia. Instead, they are automatically become members when they are born. A few ecclesia exist in the world today, including Islam in Saudi Arabia and some other Middle Eastern nations. The Catholic Church in Spain, the Lutheran Church in Sweden, and the Anglican Church in England. So next is, the last one is cults. So what is cults? A cult is a small religious organization that is at great odds with the norms and values of the larger society. Cults are similar to sects, but differ in at least three respects. First, they generally have not broken away from a larger denomination and instead originate outside the mainstream religious tradition. Second, they are often secretive and do not proselytize as much. Third, they are at least somewhat more likely than sects to rely on charismatic leadership based on the extraordinary personal qualities of the cult's leader. So there are 7 related social concepts on religion. First is folk Catholicism, split-level Christianity, faith healing, occult, invisible or private religion, fundamentalist revival, and last is electronic church.
Good day, everyone. By the way, good afternoon. I am Maria Joy T. Logod from BSEIS 2, Block 2. My topic is all about health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And hygiene is a series of practices performed to preserve health. According to the World Health Organization, hygiene refers to conditions and practices that help to maintain health and prevent the spread of disease. There are 7 that belonging to hygiene, which is number 1 is usog. Usog is probably the most popular culture health syndrome prevalent among the Visayans and Tagalogs. This involves a superstitious belief that usually a famished or hungry person called mang-uusog can cause illness to another called nausog by merely greeting or complimenting a person. So, ang usog kay, for example, kanang naay nitutok nimo na tao, and then inig ka tawd-tawd ana igmuli ka sa inyo kanang maglain imong pamati. So, mao na siya ay ang kuan usog kanang gihiluan gani ka kanang kanang nay usa ka tawo nimong tutukan ka or di hapakon ka, mao na siya ang usog. And then the second is animistic belief. The animistic belief in aswang, manananggal, tikbalang, nuno sa punso, duwinding itim, tiyanak, and the other lumang lupa. So, kahibaw na jud taning usa ning animistic belief like aswang, manananggal, mga common naman gud ni siya, makahibaw na jud tawag unsa ni siyang kung unsa ang animistic belief. Like kanang kuan nuno sa punso, kanang like patuto sa mga katiguangan nang og makatunob gay tag kuan bay sa nuno sa punso, makaingon sila nga daotan kuno na kay kuan kanang dili dapat ka maglakaw-lakaw og makalang mga kuan like kanang hapon na kay makatunob ta og kanang laing tao nga dili nato makita. So let's proceed to number 3. Kolam is an ailment or malady believed to be caused by supernatural or dark forces that the action has harm or agitated, such as the nuno sa punso, tikbalang, tiyanak, or the winding itim. Kulam in this instance is called galaw. Like kanang kulam, kanang kuan gani, kanang gipadautan ka sa kanang nakay kakontra, or nga nang nakay kakontra, tas wala nimo ganahe, so gikulam ka, kanang naadto sila og kanang madto sila mangkukulam, so mauning kuan na ilahang manugo sila laing tao para makulam ang ilahang hate na people. So and then number 4 is barang. Is a word, scary and severe form of kulam wherein a curse inflicted upon the victim who is forced to vomit or withdraw insects from the victim's body, orifices such as his mouth, nose, ears, eyes, and arms. Yes, kahibaw na jud taon sa ning barang. So kanang barang kanang kuan, kana yung pneumonia na tusok-tusokon. Kung unsay gusto sa katong nagpabarang nimo, kanang like for example kanang kung ganahan sila nga imong baba magawsan og mga insekto, so mandaghan jud ang manggawas or kanang ilang kamot imong tusokon, or unsa nga part ilang gusto, mo nay barang. Then number 5 is sapi. Is somewhat similar to kulam and barang. This involves the belief in spirit possessions, which may be good spirit or bad spirit. So kini kay mo ni ang kanang ana ni mahitabo sa kanang ganing kanang tao nga hilig og ginusara or kanang sige hinuktok, so kanang dali ra sila masapian og mga inkanto ba na, or kanang mga lagi like kanang good spirit and bad spirit lagi mo nagingon mga inkanto nga musud sa imong lawas, like kanang nay para sa akong silingan ng na siya'y nagbukalit ra siya og kakuyapan kay gisudlan na iyang lawas og lain na kuan espiritu, mo na siya ang sapi. So let's proceed to pasma. Pasma is another health syndrome in the Filipino culture which involves maladies experienced by a person, such as palm sweating, hands, arms, and leg tremors, numbness, and pains in some parts of the body. So ang pasma is like kanang imong kamot, kanang gikan ka magluto, then imo rang imong ituslo imong kamot sa tubig, so mapas mo dyan na imong kamot kay gikan maka sa init, so dapat ipahuway pa man nato atong mga kamot o gikan ta sa init, or kana pong maglakaw ta niya imuhang mga imong tiil kay gikan po na sa init, then ikinahanglan ang mga ugat ana dapat ato siya nang ipahuway, dapat usa tamang himasa kay mao na ang usa ka kuan nganong ang atong mga ugat sa tuntiil mangligtaw, so mao na siya ang pasma. Then lehi is a premise on the belief that the child to be born will somehow resemble or take some characteristics of the food or object she crave for of the person who is the object of her lihi. So kaning lihi kay for example kanang buntis ang isa ka tawo, maglihi man jud ta. So kanang ang uban kay maglihi sa ilahang kuan, kanang for example kanang bana, kanang di sila ganahan nga ilahang bana muduol nila, or kanang mangga nga na sa kanang nagabuntis ganahan jud sila, og kung sila yung lihian kanang dapat makuan jud nila kay nag-crave man na sila kung sa kanang kuan, kung sa ilahang lihian ganahan jud nila makuha jud nila, dapat pud na nimong ihatag. So this is my report. Then and in the traditional medicine and alternative medicine is kuan nice siya gisunod anit, and thank you. By the way, I am Maria Joy Trias Logod.
So good morning, my name is Jervin Halina. My topic is all about the types of social stratification system. This is the continuation report of John Berlin Abong. So first, class. Class systems. A person is born into a social ranking but can move up or down from it much more easily than in caste system or slave societies. So this movement in either direction, up or down, is primarily the result of a person's efforts, knowledge, and skills. So, if ang usa ka tawo mag-lack siya aning effort, knowledge, and skills, so possibly nga mo down yun siya. If naapod siya ani, so musaka siya. Then second is caste systems. People are born into unequal groups based on their parents' status and remain in these groups for the rest of their lives. So, people born in the lower caste live in abject poverty throughout their lives. So, kung ana sila mataw sa kapobrehon, magpabilin po na sila nga pobre. So, usa example is ng the Harijan, so or also called untouchables. They were Harijan was considered so low that technically it was not thought to be a caste at all. So, they are called untouchables because they were considered unclean, and because of that, they are prohibited from coming near from people, especially from higher class. Then, next is social mobility. Refers to the movement of people from one position to another in the social stratification system. So, social mobility may be vertical or horizontal. Vertical social mobility refers to upward and downward social mobility. So, upward mobility refers to the movement by individuals or groups into a higher stratum. Then, downward mobility refers to the movement by individuals or groups into a lower stratum. Second is horizontal social mobility. Does not involve a shift into higher or lower stratum. The movement of people is only within the same social stratum where they belong. There are factors affecting social mobility. So first is sex and gender. Second, intellectual factors or mental ability and creativity. Non-intellectual factors such as ambition, drive, other social traits, sense of humor, industry, enthusiasm, perseverance, and connections. Fourth is fortune or share luck, physical appearance, education and specialized skills, then status of parents, types of social stratification system. 9 is changing labor markets, geographical mobility, high or low fertility, and last is the governmental interventions. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning to each and everyone. I am Biala Marie Ayotida, and I am going to report about change, globalization, and social contradictions and tensions. Social change refers to basic alterations over time in the behavior patterns, culture, and structure of society by late 1985. Not all changes are social changes. Examples of social change. Number 1, the shift from a dictatorial to a democratic form of government. Number 2, scientific inventions that bring alterations in society patterns of daily interaction and relationships and affect the institutions and structure of the society. Number 3, change in nature. Number 4, change in social institutions. Number 5, change in social behavior. Number 6, change in social relations of a society or community of people. And the last one, restructuring of the Philippine society from agricultural to an industrial society. Advocacy for human rights, justice, equality, and democracy, as well as social movements and cause-oriented groups for liberation and eradication of poverty constitute social change. Social change is used in the study of history, economics, and politics, and includes topics such as the success or failure of different political systems, globalization, democratization, development, and economic growth. Social change could be number one, slow, gradual, incremental, and evolutionary. In this, it might be barely noticeable. Number two, fast, radical, sudden, and revolutionary. It might even take people by surprise. Number three, wide in scope, affecting all people in a society. And the last one, limited in scope, affecting only a small number of people. So that could be all my report. The continuation of my report will be reported by Miss Jessamay Ebanyas. That could be all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Jessamine Ibanez, a BSES 2 Black 2. Today, I'm going to report the sources of social change. First is the shifting population. Shifting population trends greatly affect social structure and social organizations. The increase in population size, the migration of rural dwellers to urban areas, the changes in the number and proportion of male and female, the baby boom or bust have significant effects in bringing about positive and negative social changes. As Durkheim observed, the increase in population leads to division of labor and specialization to manage the scarce resources and to promulgate organic laws to maintain and regulate the social order. Second is the technological innovation. Technology is the knowledge and skill applied in practical ways to the material aspects of life. It refers to the new ideas and outlooks, new means of producing goods and services to satisfy human needs and wants. Technological innovation has profound influence in determining the course of history. The third is the new ideas and cultural values. New ideas and cultural values can both facilitate and constrain social change. For example, the Protestants' ethics ideas of hard work, frugality, and self-denial have facilitated behavior patterns that are consistent with the requirements of modern capitalism. Fourth is the diffusion. Diffusion refers to the process by which change comes about as culture spreads from one society to another through direct or indirect contact between members of two different cultures. Diffusion involves the following social processes. A is the acculturation. Acculturation is the process of change in artifacts, customs, and belief that results from the contact of two or more cultures. B is the assimilation. Assimilation, the process whereby individuals or groups of differing ethnic heritage are absorbed into the dominant culture of a society. C is amalgamation. It's a combination of two or more companies into a new entity. D is the enculturation. Enculturation is the process by which individual learns the traditional content of a culture and assimilates its practices and values. Fifth is the colonization. Colonization, it refers to the political, social, and political policy of establishing a colony which would be subject to the rule or governance of the colonizing state. It politically termed as imperialism. Once the economy of more technologically advanced country dominates the economy of a less developed state, such condition is termed into new colonialism or economic imperialism. Sixth is the rebellion and revolutionary movement. This aims to change the whole social order and replace the leadership. They challenge the existing folkways and mores and propose a new scheme of norms, values, and organization. Seventh is discovery and invention. Discovery refers to the process of finding a new place or an object artifact of or anything that previously existed. Gillen of 1948, it also refers to the initial awareness of existing but formerly unobserved relationship of elements of nature to human life. Invention. It implies a creative mental process of devising, creating, and producing something new, novel, or original. Example of invention is the finished goods are items that are ready to sell. Globalization and globalism. Globalization refers to the process of increasing integration between units around the world, including nation-states, households, or individuals, corporations, and other organizations. Globalism. Its core seeks to describe and explain nothing more than a world which is characterized by networks of connections that span multi-continental distances. Social contradictions and tensions. First is the inter-ethnic conflicts. Inter-ethnic conflicts arises if ethnic groups compete for the same goal, notably power, access to resources, or territory. Second is the class struggles. It's the political tension and economic antagonism that exist in society consequent to socio-economic competition among the social classes or between rich and poor. The third or the last one is the armed conflicts, insurgency, and separatist movements. Is when opposing governments revise the preferred conflict outcome from a military defeat of the insurgents to a containment of the movement.
Good day everyone, so I'm Jonas Panyares, one of the reporter of Final. So my task to report is about Lesson 17, Global Warming and Climate Change, Transnational Migration and Overseas Filipino Workers or OFW. So first, we talk about climate change. Climate change refers to the significant long-term changes in the global climate, or it also defining issue of our time and we are at defining moment. So, dili na ta mo go further anang climate change kay ba na ta nga familiar na ta kaayo ana no. So, the greenhouse effect is the way in which heat is trapped close to the surface of the earth by greenhouse gases. Two causes of global warming or climate change temperature changes, which are external forcing and anthropogenic forcing. So, external forcing which include changes in atmospheric composition, aerosol and soot from volcanic eruption, solar luminosity, and variation of Earth orbit around the Sun. So, ang anthropogenic forcing are human activities that emit pollutant in the terrestrial, aerial, and pluvial domain of the Earth. So, para dali na ito masabtan, nanion na lang nato ang external forcing mao ang major causes of global warming. Sa anthropogenic forcing mao ang minor causes of global warming. That's all and thank you. And to end this report, I will give to Melquiades Inopia to discuss about the transnational migration and overseas Filipino workers or OFWs.